Okay, this one is for those of you who are new to the channel, and it's also for the legal professionals who are now looking at this channel to understand the threat that I pose to your facade. So I'm going to take you through 5 different events briefly, and we'll compare and contrast. And we're going to start off with the 2019 Spanish Grand Prix. Lead car is Lewis Hamilton. He is where I'm trying to circle my cursor at the moment. And I want you to focus your attention on the orange dot of Lando Norris and the pink dot of Lance Stroll, which is underneath him. Let's just play it on.
Hamilton to come in after we saw the state of his tyres, but they're pitting Bottas first. So looking now to where Charles Leclerc is, he's just rounding the final turn.
And I should have actually informed you of this. Leader is Lewis Hamilton. He's now at turn 5. If you go back around the track, the next dot is an orange dot, and that is Carlos Sainz in 11th. You can see the running order here on the right hand side of the screen. So if first is followed by 11th, that would indicate first place has lapped 11th place. All right, that's the way it worked. So anybody 11th and lower is lapped. They did say that identifying the lapped cars was a manual process. Yeah, it's really tricky, isn't it?
And making his way. Past our commentary box, Lando Norris has gone off. Lance Stroll has gone off with him in the racing points. And I wonder if this means a safety car. Norris has managed to get back out on the track. There's a lot of gravel as he goes right across the track there. Bottas is ahead of Leclerc, just to let you know after that pit stop.
A virtual safety car or a full safety car will give a cheap pit stop now to anybody.
Safety cars coming out, Martin.
So that plays into Hamilton's hands then, doesn't it?
Okay, Lando, do you have any damage?
I'm sorry, guys, I'm out.
Can you bring the car back?
No, I can't. I'm sorry, guys.
You rather think then it might have been Lando Norris's fault, that incident, from the way he was speaking there. But the safety car now deployed, and this is going to close the whole field up as through turn 1 when Lance Stroll and Lando Norris around the outside, and as he went into turn 2, Lance Stroll's got the advantage. Norris was trying to squeeze through, and yeah, he took out the racing point and himself.
I think Stroll probably thought he would yield, he'd give up on that, the McLaren behind him.
Hamilton has pitted, the race leader, and gets that, well, cheap pit stop, because he can come in and not lose as much time in comparison to others who have just pitted. Verstappen, for instance, Vettel, for instance, Bottas, for instance. Leclerc, of course, can now pit as well, but he's going to lose a place to Verstappen and to Vettel probably by making that pit stop, but they're all going to concertina together and start again when the 2 cars have been cleared away. For the first time in Formula 1, Lando Norris retired.
Concertina together and start again.
As from a Grand Prix, Lance Stroll's 14-race finishing streak ends today. Into the pits now comes Charles Leclerc, medium tyres going on. He's got
nearly an unsafe release there. I think they got away with it.
He's got half a chance of coming out ahead of his teammate Sebastian Vettel. There is Vettel, he's actually just gone through. So he now goes past Leclerc once again.
Vettel put those tyres on lap 40. So he's got the same tyres, 7 laps fresher. And they'll all be concertinaed up, the alligator behind the safety car. But of course, until they catch the safety car, but in any event, you're trundling down the pit lane on the 80 km an hour, 50 mile per hour speed limiter, and your rivals are travelling much less fast at that point.
So the order, Hamilton from Bottas, Verstappen, Vettel, Leclerc. And because of the safety car, a burnt Mylander, we see behind the wheel.
There's a lot of gravel there.
Yeah, copy.
Nicely on cue.
Safety car's going way too slow.
Yeah, but Bernd Mylander will think he's throwing that V8 engine Mercedes into the corners, but Hamilton...
He's slow though, it is slow today, the safety car. He's trying to collect the field up.
Yeah.
They're doing 60, 70 Ks around the corners.
So he's got a job to do to close the field up, Martin, but Hamilton's got a job to do in trying to keep temperature into his tyres. That's why he's so eager.
That's why he's hustling the safety car.
Behind him, it might take a while to clear the gravel here, to let the lapped cars past as well. Ricciardo, Perez, Hulkenberg, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi all a lap down.
Now remind Lewis, he's got to stay within 10 car lengths of the safety car. You're not allowed to drop too far back.
This is going to be a really interesting restart from here on in.
They can get through, as you can see. They've got their own goat track going through there now, but that gravel to our left on the inside of turn 3 is not ideally placed at all.
No, that caused when Lando Norris tried to get back onto the track and limp around, deposited a load of gravel onto the racetrack. We can see this incident once again. Norris on the inside catches that right-left wheel of the Racing Point, and to blame. I wouldn't be at all surprised if the stewards have a look at this one, because he hadn't made the corner.
I'm going with a racing incident on that one. In terms of, Lando was well alongside.
Danny Kvyat's afternoon not being helped by the fact that they didn't seem to be ready with the tyres for him there. And in the end,
stacking them, look.
So Danny Kvyat and Alex Albon having their race compromised there. And
badly,
just got a bit fingers and thumbs, didn't it?
And Magnussen's cleared them. Magnussen and Grosjean, I think, cleared them nicely.
Yeah, it's propelled Carlos Sainz up into the points. That was Hamilton's pit stop. And emerging back out to the sunshine again as Lando Norris's McLaren is loaded onto the back of the truck to head back to the Grand Prix, to the garage. So who does this bring into play for various reasons? The mix-up at Toro Rosso has kept Kvyat in the points, but Albon now out of it. Sainz is up into 10th. Hulkenberg, who started from the pit lane, now at 12th.
Another chance, thinking about this stuff. How many cars we lose position?
Stay out.
That's quite an old message.
Yeah, Hulkenberg's on the soft tyre. He might be a bit racy at the end of this as well. Ricciardo behind him will be hoping to get into the points.
Oh, not necessarily.
Hulkenberg will be a bit racy. I thought he's one of the lapped cars that you have to just get them out of the way of the race between the leaders.
There's Sebastian there. Yeah. Is it worth trying another set of tyres? Definitely got his thinking cap on today, hasn't he, Vettel? Karim's got news.
Yeah, guys, just looking at who the winners and losers were for that pit stop, I was actually standing by Toro Rosso, and there was a complete, there's a communication breakdown, clearly, when they didn't realise that the cars were already there. They're just a bit late, and then, as you properly compromised them. It's allowed Carlos Sainz to sneak into the points now, so he's got ahead of Albon and behind Kvyat.
Michael Masi, the FIA race director until the summer break at the very least, and doing a fine job so far this season, and taking over, of course, in tragic circumstances after the death of Charlie Whiting prior to the Australian Grand Prix. And Lance Stroll, not been a good weekend for him at all.
I think Stroll thought that he'd got him covered, he would yield, he'd back off, and for me, Norris thought he'd earned some space from where he'd positioned his car. It wasn't a leery move.
He wasn't ahead at any time.
I think I'm giving it 6 of one, half a dozen of another. Yeah.
It wasn't ahead at any time.
No, he wasn't. Norris, but he was close enough in there to be in tight, in my view, to be entitled to some space. Others will say, well, look, he wasn't going to get through there, he should have lifted off, but that's not what racing driving is all about.
I'm not surprised Sebastian Vettel was asking that question about pitting again, Martin, but because there are no new sets of tyres to stick on, I suppose for Ferrari it's just keep it as it is.
Yeah, so where are they? Where are they in the queue? I mean, that played beautifully for Lewis's blistered tyre, and they didn't bring him in first, either of the two Mercedes, because he'd got 11-second lead at the time. He's right at the front of the queue. Bottas has got to be at least 6 down. Vettel and Leclerc 8 or 9 cars down in the queue, maybe 10 cars down in the queue.
Well, I mean, they're going to have to release the lapped runners and riders out of this queue before.
What do you know, Crofty? What do you know?
We can get going again. The thing is, when we have the restart,
So just think about rear brake temperatures. Front calipers are getting quite warm. The rear brakes are stone cold.
it's been stamping on those brakes behind the safety car. But when we get going again, Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen and Leclerc all are going to be on tyres, Martin, very similar in age. Sebastian Vettel, 6 laps older than those around him. As Lando Norris walks back with his crash helmet still on. Apologising, as you heard, to the team on the radio. I think feeling himself that it was his fault. Now the lapped cars may overtake. And there are 1, 2, 3. Yes, well counted. Alex.
Absolutely right. How did you count that? Could you just go Albon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Superb work, fellas. Well done.
Albon, Nico Hülkenberg, Daniel Ricciardo, Sergio Perez, Kimi Raikkonen, Antonio Giovinazzi, George Russell, Robert Kubica can all now overtake. Now, whether they are going to be allowed to catch up to the back, I'm not quite sure.
Well, that's going to sort the restart order out nicely for us, isn't it? That they've elected to do that.
Well, this is why they brought this rule in.
Back in at the start of the 2012 season, Crofty, you know, we're in the 2019 season now, and we're still explaining it. And each time Martin Brundle still keeps saying, "Oh wow, will they let the lapped runners through?" Some he doesn't, but some he does. It's a good cop, bad cop act by these two fraudsters.
The lap cars can overtake just to get out of the way of those on the lead lap fighting for position, so that the back markers.
And it's not. It's because they're still all in a race, and we'll come to one where somebody who gets released finishes second in the race, but that's the ones to come. You've just told us Hülkenberg might be racy on the new tyres. He might elevate himself into the top 10 World Championship points. You see, when Norris and Stroll crashed, Albon would have been in a race with Sainz. Now Sainz has disappeared off around the track. That skewed the outcomes. Therefore, you've got to reset. You've got to reinstate sporting fairness to all competitors. This is how they do it. This is how Michael Masi, race director, knows how to do it.
Don't get in the way of the restart.
It's one of Charlie Whiting's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Concepts. It can get a bit frustrating on a very long lap sometimes.
What about a wet day in Belgium, Martin?
They are the 8 that were allowed through, and that's it's going to give us a nice clean restart. It's not mandatory. It's not absolutely certain. Depends on
gaslighting. It absolutely is, Martin.
Weather conditions and the stage of the race that you're at, but it seems
weather conditions and the stage of the race that you're at. Exciting the kiddies, aren't you there, Martin? No, they're uniform set of regulations, Martin. Do any of the regulations say caveat here? It all depends on whether or not you can pick and choose this regulation depending on the weather and at what stage of the race you're at. No, it doesn't, Martin, but you are paid to excite children, aren't you? To arouse children, Martin.
A sensible decision right now, didn't it? Because that's energised this race beautifully.
It's the concept absolutely spot on. I'm with you. You've said it many times over the years.
The concept is spot on. What's it doing, Crofty? Oh, we've intervened in a race to deal with a safety incident. What has that done? Well, it causes the field to bunch up behind that safety car, but the lapped car now that's behind the leader, he then has to wait there as the car he was challenging disappears off around the track and ends up at the back of the safety car snake. Well, you've got to restore sporting fairness to everybody. Wonderful concept, isn't it, Crofty? Have you ever explained that to the children so that they fully understand? Or did you just lie?
It's a shame they can't just drop back rather than overtaking and going.
doesn't work like that, Crofty. Dropping back would mean that they've not used a lap's worth of fuel. It means that the tyres haven't had to do a lap on those tyres. So that's not fair. They all have to cover the same distance. Foolish suggestion.
Round again, but until they sort out a way for the timing screens to update, so that
yeah, because we just lose another lap or two, especially as I say on a long lap like Spa, for example, it gets a little bit tedious. But we'll take it for now. But if they drop to the back of the field, they're a lap down.
We can't have tedious, you know, to restore sporting fairness. We have to excite the children, Martin.
Anyway, then they can stay a lap down.
They're a lap down anyway, they can stay a lap. It doesn't work like that, Martin. He's now lost a lap relative to the person he was racing against. He wasn't. So, for example, the first car released, Albon, wasn't a lap down on Sainz, was he? Doesn't work like that, Martin.
There's a gorgeous afternoon here in Barcelona, Martin. Sun's out, blue skies, few wispy white clouds overhead, nice warm temperature in this middle part of May. But
anyway, this is that mandatory lap afforded to those release cars with which to attempt to make it around to catch the back of the safety car snake, as we're witnessing now.
If you're talking temperature, tyres and brakes getting very cold on those cars now, and it's going to be so difficult for the drivers after quite a few laps behind this safety car to try and manage those temperatures, so they're in a position where the equipment can let them go and overtake and brake a bit later.
Yeah, they're designed and optimised, obviously, for braking at massively high speed, lots of energy, and they're not particularly good at safety car speed.
Absolutely.
And if they were, they'd fail very quickly in the Grand Prix.
They certainly would. Lewis Hamilton has led every single lap of this race so far. Mercedes with a 1-2 at the moment. If you haven't been with us all season, they've been 1-2 at the checkered flag in every single race this season, looking for a fifth consecutive 1-2, finish it with tie, their best ever run in Formula One. They did it in 2014 and across 2015 and 2016 as well. Ferrari also managed 5 1-2 finishes in a row, the final 5 races of 2002, but it's under pressure now because the field are so close together.
Verstappen's going to feel under pressure. 2 Ferraris behind him.
Is it ending wow?
With DRS and their power down the straight. This brings them all back into the fuel window, of course. 2 or 3 laps coasting behind the safety car sorts any fuel issues out, so they should be able to go for it. Safety car goes round again because we've got to wait for the lap runners to catch the pack.
Yeah.
I think as long as you...
We've got to wait for the lap runners to catch the pack, says Martin.
Let them go by half a lap, you could get on with it, but anyway.
Martin thinks that you can just get on with it. Gaslighting to lie to the children. No, you've got to restore sporting fairness. You see, Hamilton was significantly ahead of Bottas, who might have been significantly ahead of Verstappen, who might have been significantly ahead of Vettel, and so on and so forth. And they all get to now bunch up within half a second of each other. And the same applies to them all. That's the way it works.
Got another lap now, but I think Verstappen will be the man under pressure from the Ferraris.
But don't forget the 2 Ferraris as well, Martin, could also be under pressure from Pierre Gasly behind them. Gasly's on the soft compound tyre. The 2 Ferraris are on the mediums. Could Gasly, with those racier, grippier tyres, be putting a challenge into the Ferraris as well? This could be a mega restart when we finally get it going. Karun, down to you. Safety cars coming in at the end of this lap.
Okay, then just a quick one. Martin, you're talking about how the safety car did appear to be going a bit slow. I tell you what, I watched that gaggle of cars, the lapped ones, come past me, the likes of Albon, Hulkenberg, and so on. They were flying past because obviously they had to catch the lap up. Sainz, you'd be a little, if you were Sainz, you'd be a bit nervous because Albon's going to ride right behind you with a hot set of tyres. But yeah, battle up at the front, Crofty, all to play for.
We have seen 3 cars try and emerge into turn 1 side by side. Hamilton got the better of that. Vettel lost out. What's going to happen this time around, I wonder?
And a new regulation for this year, you don't overtake at the first safety car line. You can't overtake until you cross the line, as they call it, capital L, which is the start line,
yeah.
basically.
So they knew back in 2019 that you can't overtake under that safety car period. The first time you could overtake is after you've passed the start line.
You cannot overtake until that point. So Hamilton, he will become the de facto safety car. He controls the pack. The 10-length car rule falls away now. It's Lewis that's in charge, and he can bolt just when he likes, but he's got to give the safety car enough time to get out of the road.
So when the safety car goes into the lane, Lewis Hamilton can lead the charge to the line.
And it's ending, and it's ending. Wow. And what we have there is all the competitors lined up for the valid restart condition. All of the previously built up advantages wiped out between all competitors. That was the Spanish Grand Prix of 2019. The next example is the Brazilian Grand Prix of 2019. Leader is Maxwell Verstappen. The blue dot that I'm trying to circle, behind him is Lewis Hamilton. So just behind Max is Lewis. If you look behind Lewis is Pedro Gasly there, the blue dot. And across here, Gasly is in 7th position. So the leader, Max, and second place, Lewis, have both lapped up to 7th place in that race. Okay? Keep your eye on Valtteri Bottas. This is the car that's going to cause the problem here.
He's pulling over, and he's pulling out of this race. Valtteri Bottas slowing down. We saw the smoke coming out of the back.
And before we go through this one, remember the energy of the commentators through Spain. Remember the topics of conversation. Remember how many laps elapsed under that safety car window. When they deal with an incident, how many laps of the race were lost when they were dealing with that. This is a lived experience for the race director, for every single one of us who witnessed all of these events, a lived experience for the commentary teams who actually live and breathe every single one of these Grand Prix, so they know how long, on average, these things take. So when we get to the final one, that'll be important, but let's now have a look at this one.
Of his engine, and it's going to be a terminal problem for Valtteri Bottas as he retires from this race.
And how sensibly will he park that car? Will we need a virtual safety car? Will we need a safety car indeed?
He's done a very good job indeed there to keep it going, trundle down, find the gap in the fence and park it off the track.
Yeah, he's out of the firing line then.
Lost the power. Copy.
Oh, that's a huge shame for Valtteri Bottas's first retirement since Germany. That was after a crash in the wet towards the end of the race. This is because of a power unit problem, and they can just push that Mercedes back through the gap and get it out of the way. I'm surprised it carried on as long as it did after we first saw the smoke.
Yeah, it was a matter of when rather than if. So he is out of the firing line there. He's out of the way in a very sensible way that he has parked it. Hamilton getting ever nearer to Verstappen while we're watching this, and getting close to DRS range as well.
Yeah.
Looks like Hamilton's happier on these medium tyres.
Karoon, to you very quickly.
Max has been complaining on the radio, saying Lewis did not slow down enough for the yellow flags. So expect Jonathan Wheatley from Red Bull to be complaining about that.
We might hear it here.
Oh, Lewis didn't slow down enough, man.
Yeah, saw that, Max.
Okay.
Well, they both went through in that first sector in exactly the same time, at 18.5.
But we thought we'd interject to incite the crazies by projecting that Lewis Hamilton has done something illegal.
I don't know how much Lewis Hamilton would have lifted where the incident actually was.
Yeah, the double waves will be just at the very beginning of the second sector. Max a tenth slower than Lewis through there.
The stewards,
a whole lot in it.
The stewards have the ability, don't they, Martin, to look at the mini sectors, to go back and see all the data and the telemetry.
A tenth of a second difference between the second sector times. And we get F1 TV playing that message to incite the crazies, incite the fanboy.
Coming off the car, so they'll know if he slowed down enough or not. We'll keep you posted if anything is said. Valtteri Bottas stands by the side of the track, watching his teammate go past in hot pursuit of Max Verstappen.
I'd be inclined to just leave that car there and not put people out, actually. Safety car, full safety car.
Well, safety car. And this could make things very interesting indeed.
How long will we wait? Count the laps.
In this race, as the pack will now concertina together, and because Valtteri Bottas had an engine problem and pulled over to the side of the track, well, the race control, the race director has thought, well, we need a safety car here, so no overtaking, everyone concertinas together. What does now this mean?
And a cheap pit stop for anybody who needs to come in now. You only takes you about 11 seconds to stop.
Box, opposite Verstappen.
So if Verstappen comes in, you stay out, and if Verstappen stays out, you come in. So Ted Kravitz, you're going to see one of these two cars, possibly it's Verstappen coming in, Ted.
So he stays out, but Verstappen's going to put a set of soft tyres on, and then he's going to be very quick. It's only 11 seconds. Verstappen can make that time back. So this is a gift to the likes of Leclerc, who can put fresh tyres on. Romain Grosjean, who is being chased down by loads of other people on trying to make a one-stop race. That's going to be a gift to him. I think Lance Stroll is going to pit as well, as I see the Red Bull coming in on those soft tyres. McLaren, they're going to pit as well. So it's really helping a lot of the midfield runners. But let's see the Hamilton and Verstappen, as Max is now going to chase him down. Did you not think that was slightly pot and kettle calling black, with Verstappen saying that Lewis didn't slow down enough for yellow flags?
I thought he'd learnt his lesson well from Mexico, Ted. Don't be a cynic.
But on the restart, Max has got a lot of cars in front of him. Grosjean, Gasly, in fact, no, just two cars between him and Lewis Hamilton.
So
on the restart, Max has got two cars in front of him, has he, Martin?
there's Valtteri Bottas' car getting winched away. Michael Masi, the race director.
This is the expert of the sport telling you this. The man who was a Formula One driver and now the commentator of the sport for Abu Dhabi, had been there for 28 years as the lead commentator. Doesn't know the regulations, or he does, but he's paid to lie to the children.
Director in the background there, with his hair getting ever greyer, I'm sure. As in comes Charles Leclerc for his pit stop. The key here is that the lapped cars, Martin, can unlap themselves. So if there are a few cars in between
What do you know, Crofty? What do you know?
Hamilton and Verstappen on the track, I think most of those are lapped cars and will get out of the way. So
good point. Absolutely right, Crofty. Good cop, bad cop.
The restart at the moment, Gasly's been lapped, Grosjean's been lapped. They'll both clear out of the way, so Hamilton will have Verstappen right behind him.
It's not an absolute given that they let lap runners through, is it? But it's certainly available.
It's available, says Martin. It's not a given. It's available. Yes, keep misinforming everybody, just for the one occasion where we might need to manipulate it.
It's at the discretion of the
9 times out of 10.
Masi that they, yes, as you say, they
Lies. It's not at the discretion of Michael Masi. He has the discretion whether or not to utilise the safety car to deal with a safety incident. That's his discretion. Once he selects the safety car, he is bound by the regulations that relate to the safety car. And that is, if cars haven't been lapped, there's no lapped cars in the running order, the safety car will remain on track at least until the leader is behind it and all of the other cars are lined up behind the leader. What that achieves is a snake of cars in the correct race order, first down to the last running competitor, all in the right order. The restart condition. If there are lapped cars in that race, and therefore in that running order, the mandatory requirement is for those lapped cars to be released, those which qualify, and then the safety car will remain on track at least for an additional lap beyond that lap of release, to afford those released cars the opportunity of making it around the track to try and catch the back of that safety car snake. Now, if the race director, which is a discretionary thing, doesn't feel that sporting fairness has been restored fully to those released cars, those lapped cars that are now released, and has tried to make it around to catch the back of the safety car snake, he again has the discretion, on the grounds of sporting fairness, to keep that safety car on the track so that those released cars fully catch the back of the pack, so that that restart condition of all cars lined up one behind the other in the correct race order is achieved. What's different in this race is Robert Kubica, white dot here, There's been lapped twice, and you do not get 2 laps back. So when we see a restart, you're going to see a slight anomaly, but that's on the grounds of somebody being lapped 2 laps down. Okay, but what they're not going to do is afford him that lap back. Okay, because he was already a lap down. So that's the way it would work. Already 2 laps down. So essentially, he's still gaining relative to other people. But that's the way it is. Anyway, we'll carry on.
Usually do.
So Leclerc has had his second pit stop of this race. And that will definitely help him. He's now on the soft tyres through to the end of this race. And just get the feeling this has worked out beautifully for Charles Leclerc in his scrap that will be coming up with Sebastian Vettel, assuming, of course, he gets past Alex Albon.
He's quite a long way behind him at the moment, but he'll certainly have a much faster package in the Ferrari, as you say.
Yeah. Well, he's a long way behind him at the moment, but this safety car period is going to go on for a while, I think, while it all sorts itself out.
What tyres he gone to?
So he's gone to the soft tyre.
You gonna give me some power?
So if you pre-select a strap mode 5, we've got everything we've got at the moment.
And that will be on his steering wheel, the different strap modes that he can go to.
Max wants them to hurry up. He wants to get on the tail of the Mercedes. He'll be on better tyres. We've already seen him coast past once climbing the hill today.
Well, the thing is, Hamilton will want this safety car to stay out as long as possible. Max Verstappen, as you rightly say, please, can we go in as quickly as we can? Bernd Mailander in danger of being overtaken by Lewis Hamilton there. And I know he looks like he's going for a Sunday afternoon drive in the country, but he's going as fast as he can. Hamilton just feels here, sitting duck. Max on fresher, faster tyres behind him with a package that has worked well all weekend. But just how many laps will Verstappen have to get past Hamilton when we go racing again?
Safety car needs to speed up, man. Jeez.
Yeah, I got the feeling that message was coming as well. Ted, down to you.
It seems like with Mercedes it was like, well, we're second anyway, let's try this, because if it doesn't go well, we'll probably still only be second. But that's not counting with Charles Leclerc, who surely is going to devour his teammate Sebastian Vettel, Crofty, as you've been saying. Vettel knows it. He's been on the radio saying, what were our options? Could we have come in? What other things could we have done? But I think they just, well, either they were late or didn't get the right tyre or didn't have the tyres available, but they didn't, and I think Leclerc's going to get the better of his teammate.
Lapped cars are now starting to unlap themselves, which means a lot of action, as you can see. Starting with car number 10, Pierre Gasly. There's a lot of lap cars, so it's a very short lap here at Interlagos. Very quickly do you start getting laps, and this is going to take a while to sort itself out a little bit. How many laps older are Sebastian Vettel's tyres? 5 laps older than Charles Leclerc's.
Yeah, Max is on brand new softs then, of course.
Yeah. So he's on brand new softs. When did Albon come into the pits?
Lewis is on 12 lap old mediums.
So he'd only just come into the pits, Albon as well. Is there a danger here, Martin, that Lewis Hamilton is under threat from Verstappen, Vettel, Albon and Leclerc towards the end of this race?
Could be. Yep. Leclerc's got to pass Albon first before he can get to his teammate, but Vettel's sitting there as well, exposed, isn't he? Albon was unlucky because I think he did a green flag pit stop, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
But they've all concertinaed up. I guess when you put the full safety car out, and when you put the full safety car out, it means there are periods of time when the pack are all round the other side of the track, and if you want to clear a car away, whereas a virtual safety car, they can keep coming round all the time. It was a difficult call, but that car was out of the firing line. You couldn't hit that car there, but I guess leaving a stranded car on the side of the track is not really very Formula One, is it?
No.
No, it's not very Formula One. Well done, Martin. So, with it being a short lap, they'll soon be able to catch the back of the snake. They'll soon be able to catch Leclerc, won't they? So, Russell, okay, bearing in mind, everybody's already lapped Kubica. I think whether Russell has lapped him might be the only competitor that didn't lap Kubica, and the leaders have lapped him twice. The top 6 had lapped him twice. So now when they cross the start-finish line, we're going to see the mandatory safety car lap afforded to these release cars for them to attempt to catch the back of the pack. Let's have a look.
Struggling to keep temp in his tires, man.
Yeah, because he needs that safety car to go a bit faster. There's the Williams.
So approximately there's the start-finish line that they're crossing now, where Hamilton is now. So 1 lap from now, we should be underway again.
George Russell unlapping himself, and with Russell now doing that, that means that all the lapped cars have unlapped themselves. But Pierre Gasly is just going through Lorania, the little pine tree at turn 8, while Charles Leclerc is going through turn 1. So there's a massive gap for the pack now to catch up with the top 6 who were all running on the lead lap. So that safety car, Martin, could be out for a couple of laps longer.
How long will we wait, Crofty? A couple of laps longer, you're predicting now, Crofty?
Just feel?
Yeah, if they're going to let them get all the way back round to the back of the pack, yeah.
And I kind of think they need to do that because it's such a short lap here.
Yeah.
On this occasion, you think that they need to do that. Okay. Oh, and it's because it's a short lap here. It could be a short lap, it could be a long lap. It could be good weather, it could be bad weather. It could be the start of the race, it could be the end of the race. Do all these different caveats, different variables, are they all listed in the regulations? Or is it just a uniform set of regulations that apply to all circumstances? Oh, it'd be the latter.
What you don't want is the pack all concertinaing up and then interfering.
What we don't want is 2 people gaslighting the children to condition their minds with falsehoods so that they believe it to be a certain way, because what that then does, it causes conflict. It causes the strap-on fanboy in their orange t-shirts, wearing their number 33 pyjamas, to get in the comments section to fight for their hero. No, they're misinformed.
With the race leaders in about 10 laps' time, if that makes sense. I know we've only got 71 laps here, but I mean, the key is that they then don't interfere with the race for the rest of this race. And
you don't want anybody to interfere with the race in 10 laps' time, Crofty. Oh, that's a lovely explanation.
Because they'll all be scrapping away for points as well, and it's only fair that they can then...
Absolutely right, that they'll all be scrapping away for points as well. You know, Pierre Gasly, the released car here, 6th position, finishes 2nd. Just get him out of the way. Get him out of the way. Oh, we'll be scrapping for points. Yeah, 18 of them.
Run their race.
They're about a half a lap ahead now.
Yeah. So I think I would imagine in a couple of laps' time the safety car will go. And it's what the 12th time we've had a safety car affected race here at Interlagos.
The safety car is remarkably fast for a road car. Why does it need?
They know all the stats and all the data, don't they? They know it. They know all the stats. But they don't know how long we'll wait at Abu Dhabi 2021.
To be a road car, because it's got to be on the key in any conditions, wet or dry, on a set of tyres that are suitable, with enough fuel to take this lot around for a good while.
Christian Horner on the Red Bull pit wall. Good news or bad news, this safety car, and why did you decide to pit Max Verstappen?
Well, in a situation like that, Mercedes would have done the opposite, so we've taken that attacking approach to this last part of the race. We've conceded track position, but put him on what we think will be a better tyre to the end of the race.
And the end of the race, he's going to have a chance to get past Lewis, but...
It didn't end. Wow. We're now on to the next lap behind the safety car. The 2nd lap afforded to those release cars. So not just the mandatory one, just like Spain 2019. Not just the mandatory lap. Michael Masi kept that safety car on track for yet an additional lap to ensure sporting fairness to these release cars. What does Michael Masi know that the purpose of this regulation is for?
Surely you're going to have to be watching as well for Vettel, for Albon, Leclerc. All could be a grandstand finish, this.
Yeah, it's going to...
Oh, it's going to be a grandstand finish.
It's going to be a big one. So, yeah, you know, we've gone...
Michael had a big one in... his main big one in Abu Dhabi.
On for it. As I say, if we'd have stayed out, they would have pitted. We elected to take the aggressive approach, so we'll see what we've got to the end of the race.
Thanks ever so much, Christian, and good to have you with us this weekend.
How one of my tyres, man? I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep them behind. So they're 15 laps.
Safety car coming in at the end of this lap, so he's going to have 12 laps or so to try and survive this. It's kind of all doom and gloom in Lewis Hamilton's head, but that's understandable given the position he's now in.
Verstappen and the Red Bull have just had the raw pace today to put themselves in this strong position, but it's not done and dusted yet. But Lewis is definitely having a glass half empty day.
Which could all change if he's on the top step of the podium at the end of this race. Max Verstappen is as keen as a young cocker spaniel behind him there to get going.
And you really do need to let the safety car get a long way away here, because you climb the hill.
Come on, mate. You've done this once already on the same compound.
So Hamilton will back the pack up right now, as Verstappen is finding and has to jam on the brakes. And this is crawl. So let the...
And it's ending, wow. Ending where we've got all the cars in the correct race order, lined up one behind the other. All of the previously built-up advantages wiped out between all competitors. The anomaly here is that Kubica isn't the last dot, he's the second but last dot, on the grounds that he was lapped twice in that race and only afforded one lap back. That's the way that they operate the regulations. So, that was example 2. That was from the 2019 season, the first season that Michael Masi was the race director. We move into 2020, where the vision improves. Let's have a look. We're now at the... which Grand Prix is this one? It's just the Eifel Grand Prix, held in Germany. This time, the leader of the race is Lewis Hamilton. Second place is Maxwell Verstappen. So there's Hamilton there. There's Verstappen. Behind Verstappen's car on the track is Lando Norris. So both Hamilton and Verstappen have lapped 6th place in that race. So everybody below 6th is lapped relative to Hamilton and Verstappen. But keep your eye on Lando Norris's orange dot here, heading to turn 6.
Lap 11 behind. So touch and go. It depends how well Ricciardo's tyres hang on. So the right front looking a little bit.
I'd also look at here. There's Lewis Hamilton, and he's just about to catch and lap 5th place Carlos Sainz as well. All right.
Bit angry.
Oh, that is Lando Norris, who...
And Charles Leclerc here is trying to race with Sainz. Here's Leclerc being lapped by Verstappen and Hamilton, but he's trying to chase down Sainz in that McLaren there.
We have heard a lot on the radio this afternoon, going through many issues with the power unit and the sensor, and that is Lando Norris out of this race, pulling over and parking up.
What are they going to do to get that out of the way easily? Will that require a safety car?
It might require a virtual safety car in the way that we had when George Russell stopped a little bit earlier. He's parked up right by a tractor there. You could see it in the background, so he's found a very good place to stop. But it's massive disappointment there for Lando Norris, who was having a great old battle, and as a result of that, they're getting ready in the garages here, because this could be pit stop time. The yellow flags are waving where Lando Norris has stopped on the outside of turn 6. No indication yet that we're going to get a virtual safety car.
Yeah, they seem to be getting ready for that. That's a really difficult car to move, sort of wedged up. So they've got to put men out on the track so they can cover it under double wave yellows. The bodywork there is trying to catch fire.
They didn't have to put men out on the track. Let's see if we can see where the car is.
As Lando finds the deck chair formerly owned by...
Let's just see if we can actually get a picture of the car, just so you can see.
They might just need to do something.
So they can... Yeah, they would...
That's where it's parked.
They seem to be getting ready for that. That's a really difficult car to move. Sort of...
Not really, is it? You just manoeuvre the crane, hook it to that, lift it. That's really difficult. Anyway.
That's a really difficult car to move, sort of wedged up. So they've got to put men out on the track so they can cover it under double wave yellows. The bodywork there is trying to catch fire.
They might just need to do something about that. As Lando finds the deck chair formerly owned by Fernando. Oh dear. That's a real shame. Back-to-back pointless races for Lando Norris, and this was the end today.
I wonder if we'll see any more back-to-back pointless races for Lando.
Anti-stall kicked in, and the safety car has been deployed.
The full safety car.
The full safety car, which at the moment, Lewis Hamilton coming around turn 11. As our race leader, Max Verstappen making his way up to turn 10. Daniel Ricciardo's come straight into the pits with the safety car being deployed. I would imagine there'll be a few others joining this one in the pits. Ted Kravitz.
Yeah, this is a bit of a gift for Daniel Ricciardo.
Well, safety car, what does that mean? Well, this gap between Hamilton and Verstappen, Max now gets to be on the back of Lewis. Okay, that's nice for him.
Renault, although they're slow getting the tyres on, but eventually they get to do it. Let's see how it goes out.
Well, Ted, you can see from the roof, Checo's going down the main straight at the moment. He has stayed out, didn't need to pit.
No, but then he's got Daniel Ricciardo right behind him on a brand new, fresh set of tyres. Carlos Sainz pits as well, and so does Lewis Hamilton. And Red Bull are out for Max Verstappen as well. So it looks like the Hamilton-Verstappen will stay as it is. Hamilton leading Verstappen. That's a clean stop. Nothing wrong with Hamilton's stop. And then it's Verstappen in now as well. So that's changed the face of the whole Ricciardo final place for the podium fight, hasn't it? Let's have a look at the Verstappen stop. Yeah, soft tyres, a little bit slow by Red Bull's high standards, but not so bad.
But what this has done is it's given Racing Point track position with Sergio Perez, and it's given Daniel Ricciardo fresh new tyres right behind him once we get going again. So they've swapped around. That podium battle could yet come alive, and it's also completely wiped out the gap that Lewis Hamilton had, Martin Brundle, with Max Verstappen, which was around about 11 seconds.
Yeah, it's really changed the face of the race. It's the Racing Point have rolled the dice with Perez, because of course they'll all end up stacked up behind the safety car. Perez won't only just be under pressure from Ricciardo, it'll be Sainz and others too, with his tyres that have now done 16 laps if they get a fresh set of tyres on them.
Hulkenberg pitted again, comes out in 9th place. I think Gasly also came into the pits. And there you can see Bernd Maylander in the safety car picking up our race leader. It shouldn't be too long, a safety car, but this is just to clear away the McLaren of Lando Norris, the outside of turn 6, and to do it as safely as possible.
So Perez will pit now. He's got enough time. It'll put him back behind Ricciardo, but it'll keep him still. So, yeah, that puts him back in. They've got to be careful, though, that the safety car, of course, is not a virtual safety car, so the safety car's got to complete the lap. So Perez will now pit, goes behind Ricciardo. And
well done, Martin. It's a safety car, so it's not a virtual safety car, so the safety car's got to complete the lap. Really, Martin? Really? No, well, the safety car has to remain on track at least until the leader is behind it and all of the other competitors are lined up behind the leader. In the event where there are lapped cars, there is a mandatory procedure that then needs to be carried out, Martin. Martin's now the liar to the children, the children arouser, is suggesting that, oh, maybe now we can just bring the safety car in and get going again already like this, everybody. No, Martin, it doesn't work like that. You'd have thought as the expert, handsomely paid expert, should be able to inform people about the sport in the correct manner, wouldn't you?
Equally fresh tyres then. So I wonder if they'll bring the safety car in right at the end of this lap with that car out of the way, or whether we might have to get another lap. Then they might let the lap runners through, which is pretty much everybody, isn't it? Apart from the top 5.
Well, that's what they always do, is to let the lap runners go through, which will give Perez a...
But I'm not sure it's mandatory in the regulations, but that's normally on a wet day where they don't And if they do, how long will they wait, Martin?
Chance to be right behind Daniel Ricciardo then when the safety car goes in.
It's not mandatory to let the lap runners through, but they tend to do that, as you say. It's an option.
Now, you see, there are other examples where you don't say that, Martin, but I'm just using these specific for a specific reason.
Please tell the safety car to speed up.
Copy, Lewis. I think this is going to take a while to get the cars to bunch.
Yeah, the leaders are all scripted to say that, oh, this is horrendous for me because I'm going too slow and my tyres are getting cold and therefore it's going to be difficult on the restart. Well, if your tyres are getting cold, everybody behind you's tyres is getting cold as well. So, yeah, don't you worry your little heads about that, everybody. It'd be the same for everybody.
So is the safety car just decreasing its speed a bit to help the pack close together? Because obviously you don't want drivers going fast to catch up. What you want is a pace that they can all maintain and catch up eventually, because they can go a little bit faster than the ones directly stuck behind the safety car at the moment.
Yeah, as this lot come across the line, Perez and Sainz are only down at the bottom of the hill in turn 7 of 15. So it will take a while for them to get it, and they can't just stick their foot down. They've got to come past any incident at reasonable speed. You can't just pin it and go.
Yeah, I mean, they can when it gets cleared away, which it was looking like it was very much in the process of being cleared away.
It's unsafe for him to go this slow for us guys with these tyres.
Okay, copy, we'll feed that back.
What Hamilton's worried about is losing temperature in those tyres, and when we get racing again, them being too cold, and the prospect of locking up going into the first corner.
And they weren't new tyres, because neither him nor Verstappen had new tyres available after qualifying. Lewis is sort of doing the equivalent of somebody on the motorway asking you to pulling up.
You know, when they do the formation lap, you know, where they're only doing pretty slow speed around the formation lap, and then they take it really slow going into that last corner, don't they? And then they come down to their grid position, and then they just sit there for about 30 seconds, allowing the tyres to cool down. Yeah, it's going to be unsafe on the restart, isn't it? Oh, on the start. Oh, is that just narrative as well?
Alongside and ask you to go a little bit faster in the fast lane.
Well, they're definitely going to have to let the lap cars pass, because you've got Charles Leclerc in between the race leader and the second place man at the moment.
Oh, the reason they're going to have to do it here is because you've got somebody in between first and second here. They do it every other time, but you have to give a reason why they're doing it, don't you? It's not. You don't tell everybody it's about mandatory requirement due to the fact that when you intervene in a race, you neutralise racing. That skews the outcomes for everybody when everybody bunches up, and therefore you have to reset the start condition before you resume racing. You don't tell it like that, do you, lads? Your job's not to do that. Your job is to arouse the children.
Yeah, the safety car can't be out for long, Nate, because the tyres are getting so cold.
Yeah, copy, similar.
See, Max is learning. Max is learning.
Comments from Hamilton as well.
But I think, just looking at where the cars are positioned, so Hamilton and Verstappen coming through turn 8 at the moment. Ricciardo, who's in third place, is going through turn 5. And there's a lot of lapped cars, obviously, in between them. So this could actually take quite a while.
Yeah, they don't have to let the lap cars get I hope they don't, all the way. Yeah, now the lap cars can overtake, but they don't have to let them go a complete lap and catch up the crocodile again.
Just get out of the way.
If they're halfway around the lap, it'll do just fine.
Just get out of the way. But then do they...
Just get out of the way. Just get out of the way.
Do they let Ricciardo, as third place man, catch up to the back of Verstappen?
Do they let Ricciardo in third catch second? Says Crofty. Oh, nobody knows. The commentators don't know. They're just picking out random ideas out of the air.
Well, anyway,
I think before the safety car goes in.
Yeah. Perez and Sainz still haven't caught up with Ricciardo, though. But another advantage you get, if you're catching the pack and then they release the safety car, like Perez, for example, on new tyres, and you've been are going at a faster pace, wow, will you have an advantage on the restart?
Tyres are that much warmer.
Yeah, it'll be so much warmer and therefore up to pressure.
So you can just see there's the checkered flag start-finish line. White dot of Daniel Kvyat is just passing the leader, Hamilton, and there's Verstappen took behind Verstappen took behind Hamilton. So Kvyat here, 15th position, the last of the lapped cars, the last of the runners there, has just passed the leaders and the safety car. So this is the mandatory lap afforded to those release cars with which to attempt to make it around the track to catch up with the back of what will be the safety car, Snake.
Perez almost wants to pace himself a little bit to get to the back of Ricciardo.
So a good decision. So Perez coming in and then conceding that track position once more. Not a bad idea in terms of his fight with Daniel Ricciardo, who is now right up to Max Verstappen, as you can see in your picture.
Yes, because there was a lovely gap appeared behind Perez on the second lap after the safety car was deployed that enabled...
That was good pacing by Perez, using the whole lap to pace himself to get behind Ricciardo there. Thanks for that, Brundle and Crofty, lying to the kids.
Them to pull him in without any risk.
So Ted, down to you.
Tell you someone who hasn't passed beneath me here on the pit building is Romain Grosjean. That's because in the Haas he's on the hard tyre, and it's not quick, but it is durable, and they think it can make certainly the end of the race, and it's earned him P7 at the moment, but with Pierre Gasly, Nico Hülkenberg behind him, which are quicker cars. And I've got an update on his finger.
Oh good, because he has been driving through the pain barrier.
Yes, exactly. He's been driving through the pain barrier and hasn't been on the radio again, so has tell me to update them or grouse about it. So he's being brave, Romain, there, and if it is causing him some pain, he's not complaining about it anymore.
He's having quite a race, and to finish in the points for what would be the first time since he last raced in Germany. Hockenheim last season was the last time Romain Grosjean scored any points. Well, what a great afternoon that would be. Now the track is now clear where Lando Norris parked up.
They can bring the safety car in this lap because the pack are far enough out of the way now.
The safety car can't stay out another lap, mate. The tyres are way too cold. The others have much more benefit than...
But we're talking about those that are catching the pack up, which has now happened with Perez and Sainz, have got much more temperature because they've been travelling more quickly than the safety car.
So you can see all the back markers there.
They can definitely come in this lap, the safety car. We don't need them to catch all the way back up again to the crocodile.
Well, you see, Martin, Charles Leclerc is in 6th position there. Here he is, look. Just past turn 6. There's 5th position, Carlos Sainz. They're racing each other, Martin. Now, 5th position, Carlos Sainz is allowed to challenge 4th position, Perez. They're them two cars there. Why is 6th not allowed to challenge 5th? Why are you leaving him all that way behind? That's not fair, is it? That's not fair, Martin. Sporting fairness.
Michael Masi is the man who makes the call. He is the FIA's race director. And we're watching our timing screens. Lights are still on for the safety car. Clearing the corner where Lando Norris parked up. And we're
safety car. We don't need them to catch all the way back up again.
The man who makes the...
This is what to rewind. This is race control. This is Michael Masi. This is whoever these gimps are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. There's somebody there in the back. There's at least 7 people here. I've got evidence of race control consisting of 2 rows of screens and at least 5 people per row, which would indicate that there's at least 10 people in FIA race control at each Grand Prix. Oh, well, you can see actually up here in this bank at the top here, there's a head there and there's a head there. So there's at least 2 people there. There's somebody's hair there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 there on the bottom row. A person here and then 2 up there. There's at least 10 people in that room. FIA race control. But Michael Masi is just on his own under so much pressure and all the teams are getting onto him and he can't delegate. Can't get other people to receive the communications from anybody else. No, he's doing his job, isn't he? He's able to do his job. How are you doing your job, Michael? But what
Up again to the crocodile.
Michael Masi is the man who makes the call. He is the FIA's race director. And we're watching our timing screens. Lights are still on for the safety car.
And he's using his discretion. He knows that he has to carry out the mandatory regulation, which is affording those released cars the mandatory lap after they've been released, with which to attempt to catch the back of the pack. But because they haven't caught the back of the pack, what he's doing is using his 15.3 to keep that safety car on the track to afford sporting fairness to all those competitors.
Clearing the corner where Lando Norris parked up, but no indication that the safety car is coming in, and it's too late to make that decision on this lap. So we've got at least another lap then of the safety car, behind the safety car, to go.
Paul just said to me from Sky Race Control, what, pit signs there, where nobody will overtake him, and he will then be able to catch them back up again with a lovely set of warm tyres. They haven't done that.
No, he wasn't on a safety car's coming in this lap, but he wasn't on a new set of soft tyres anyway.
He probably hasn't got a brand new set. There'd be, well, if they're in the blankets, safety car is now in this particular lap. If they're in the blankets, and they're up to 100 front, 80 rear as they're allowed to be, it would be very handy. They might be concerned that Leclerc would pass them, but anyway, they didn't do that. So
Esteban Ocon then watching from the pit wall, and along with Lando Norris, Alex Albon and Valtteri Bottas retiring from this race with engine or hydraulic issues. Some mechanical DNFs for those four. George Russell retired after being hit in a collision with Kimi Raikkonen, got Kimi Raikkonen a penalty for his troubles. Alex Albon got a 5-second penalty for taking out Danny Kvyat's front wing. Kvyat is now running 15th. Mick Schumacher watches on then at the Eifel Grand Prix at the Nürburgring, where his dad won 5 times. Most successful Formula One driver on this circuit.
So Leclerc's going to rock up with the rest of the pack behind him with much warmer tyres.
They have timed it absolutely perfectly, really, and not just Leclerc.
Oh, the tyres! Yeah, it'll be incredible. He'll take the lead on the restart with those tyres.
But also Grosjean and Gasly and Hulkenberg as well. The front two have been talking about tyres, getting cold, not enjoying the speed behind the safety car. How cautious will they be going in to the first turn? Verstappen's already trying to get alongside Lewis Hamilton, who's now backing up the pack even further to let the safety car go. And as you can see, Charles Leclerc has just arrived there at the top of your picture, and is just a little bit behind Carlos Sainz, but he can make that up over the next few hundred metres.
It's going to be like...
And it's ending, wow. Having achieved the restart condition of all the cars in the correct race order, one behind the other with all the previously built up advantages wiped out. Now I'm interested to see if Charles Leclerc's much hotter tyres are going to give him the advantage on any kind of restart. Let's have a look.
Driving on ice for those front.
It's going to be like driving on ice for the front 5, but not for Leclerc, and the rest of them are on super hot tyres now. Let's have a look.
Well, they wanted the safety car to get its skates on. They might have to deal with a skating incident themselves here. Don't forget, of course, Hamilton's got the DAS system, and that really helps warm up the front tyres. It's exactly why Mercedes have introduced it for moments like this, and he has gone already. Verstappen is struggling a little bit, as you can see, and already locking up, as did Carlos Sainz as well. Daniel Ricciardo is poised to strike Max Verstappen as we go racing once again. Hamilton weaving away down the main straight to get more temperature in those tyres. Ricciardo wanting to make a move on Verstappen. He's inching ahead. Verstappen's got the inside line. Perez is in 4th. Then comes Sainz and Leclerc. Then comes Gasly and Grosjean and Hulkenberg scrapping away into turn 1. On board now with Daniel Ricciardo. Verstappen's done very well to survive the early skirmishes and keep hold of that second.
Well, they all perform rather well on their racing on ice, the top 5, and Charles Leclerc with his super hot tyres couldn't take advantage of that. Who'd have thought? Anyway, next example, the 2020 Sakhir Grand Prix. Now, you'll note in this event that the two Mercedes drivers, Lewis Hamilton is missing. This was during the times where a man-made virus was introduced on the population, and multiple billionaires were made. Yeah. Was it? What's the report? Over 30 new billionaires were made, and the pharmaceutical companies made billions. Apparently, it was taxpayers' money that then went into developing something called a vaccination, which had been developed in such speed. You know, nothing had ever been developed so quickly to combat something before. But then it was a vaccination that was developed that didn't perform like a traditional vaccination. But don't you worry, little heads. A lot of people did well, I say a lot, a few did rather well out of the situation. Formula One was the first sport to resume, and it did rather well as well. 2021, its share value increased by about $4.8 billion. I've done that in other videos. I forgot the figures. I'll get the graph for another video. Or you can go through my back catalogue. 4.8 billion for Liberty Media due to selling the show to the kiddies. Anyway, it's funny, isn't it, that the Mercedes brand, they won 8 consecutive Constructors' Championship. Having done so, they able to sell a third of their team to Sir Jim Radcliffe of Ineos for £200 million, apparently. But then that team, well, that would have valued the team at about £600 million at that time. Since Ineos have bought a third of the team, Mercedes haven't won anything. You know, they've only won the odd race or two. Never won a Constructors' Championship since. But their team is now worth 4.6 billion. That's done rather well for a team that has never won anything since that 200 million to buy a third. Who does the valuing? Who picks a number out of the air and say, I'm going to value your product at that much now, and now that I own it, I'm going to value it at 14 times as much, or however much you want to value it at. Pick a number, any number, double it, triple it. Anyway, so Lewis Hamilton had got struck down with a mystery virus, and nobody died of flu during that time either. Nobody died of anything else. Nobody died in car accidents or of cancer or anything. Everybody died of the virus. But don't you worry about that. So Lewis Hamilton isn't in this one. We've got Russell and Bottas. I'm showing you on data view on this screen. And the reason I'm showing you, this isn't a car that's come to a standstill. This is some debris on track. Car loses its front wing. So you're not going to see a dot on track if you come to a standstill. I'm going to show you the timing of the deployments of how they choose to deal with the incident via this screen first, and then we'll go on to track view.
Of course, will be Alpine for next season. There's a front wing lost by Jack Aitken.
We're going to need a safety car then to clear that away, I think. I think I saw it on the exit of the last corner. There it is. So either a VSC if there's enough of a gap around the...
It says VSC, Virtual Safety Car. It says it there at the top of the screen, Martin.
Track.
It is a VSC.
It is a VSC. So they can hope to find a gap and send somebody out to pick it up. There'll be debris on the track as well for good measure. So this, as you said, Crofty, just neutralises the race rather than closes the pack up. I like your analogy of the Scalextric set, all on the same piece of track. Yeah. On the same side of the track.
Which is in effect what it does. I think for George Russell, he would much rather have a virtual safety car at the moment than a normal safety car.
And some.
He would not want the pack to close up, but that's why.
That's right, because the virtual safety car, Russell maintained his almost 8-second lead over Valtteri Bottas. Yeah, it's preferable if you've got an advantage over somebody. Although if you're behind and you're significantly behind, you'd prefer the safety car, wouldn't you? Yes.
They've thrown that virtual safety car, and this is why it happened. Oh, Jack looking out there. He was lucky, that was just the front wing.
It's really hard to see a gap. I mean, there's a gap after Magnussen now, but where is it? I was just saying there's the replay. I was looking for the wing.
It's there.
Yeah. So there's a gap behind. I can't.
Safety car. Right, I'll put you onto track view. Where you'll see where he's saying it's difficult to see where there's a gap. And what he's talking about is there's in between these dots dotted around the track. There's not really a long period of time. It's before the next car comes through. So if, for example, you wait for Bottas to go past the scene where you need to run out onto track, it's not long before Lando's there. And then once Lando's passed, it's not long before this car or this car, this car. There's always a car that's going to be arriving on the scene within the next few seconds. Okay, then there's no real safety margin. If a marshal runs onto the track to pick up some debris, and in his speed turns, twists his ankle, goes down, all of a sudden you've got a car on you. So you've got to take this into consideration when you are race control. You've got to make the situation safe for those operatives working on the track. Anyway, safety car.
So there's a gap behind. I can't see a gap out there to put a marshal on the track.
I mean, the lucky thing is that is a marshal's post there where Jack Aitken hit the barrier. So there's not far for the marshals to go to get that wing. But you're going to need Usain Bolt to do it safely.
Yeah.
Safety car's been deployed.
Yeah, they have to. I can't see a gap. I can't see a gap in the way the cars are distributed around the track. And they're stacked up.
They're double stacking at Mercedes. The front right tyre was slow for George Russell. And for Valtteri Bottas, even more confusion for a crew that are normally very,
they're not happy
adept.
with the left front. They're not happy with his left front.
Well, they double stacked. They've reacted really, really quickly, Mercedes, and this is costing Bottas. Oh, his brakes are on fire now as well. They had the wrong compound of tyre on, and that's why they couldn't send him out again. But now those brakes are overheating. Bottas needs to get out and get some air through those brakes to cool them down. He has lost track position to Sergio Perez, Esteban Ocon, Lance Stroll. He's gone from second to fifth while all that was happening. You know, we talk about Valtteri Bottas having such bad luck this year in Formula One. There's the latest example.
Well, and he's got a set of hard compound tyres on rather than mediums as well for good measure. And, well, that's given George Russell a massive breathing space. Of course, he will have a restart. They will all now stack up behind George Russell and the safety car. But that's, well, that's just changed the face of the Grand Prix.
I'm just wondering here, Martin, if they haven't just put the same tyres on Valtteri Bottas's car back on again, because he wouldn't have
George,
another set.
we're going to need to box. We have a mixed tyre set on the car.
Oh no! And that's led to the confusion. In double stacking, they brought out two sets of tyres. They've got a mixed set on. This is going to cost George Russell a penalty. It happened to Valtteri Bottas in Spa once.
Yeah, as long as you come in and sort it out within 3 laps, I believe it's okay.
Okay.
But basically what's happened... See, Martin knows the regulations, doesn't he? He doesn't know the unlapping procedure on safety car. He has to keep everybody guessing with that. But he does understand the regulation concerning if you put a mixed set of tyres on.
They've got some of Bottas's tyres on, or indeed all of Bottas's tyres on.
He might still come out.
You see, Martin, how many times have you witnessed the cars being fitted with a mixed set of tyres to know that regulation? Compare that with how many times you've commentated on the safety car situation and that's had to do the unlapping procedure, Martin. Oh, I'll do a video. I'll link a video at the end of this one and you can tell us how many times since the reintroduction of this regulation at the beginning of the 2012 season that's actually taken place, Martin. Yeah, we can go through that video.
Front, you know, just looking here as Perez. No, he's not going to come out in front because look, there's Perez, there's Ocon, there's Stroll, here's Bottas, here's Russell.
Yeah, because Russell lost all the time behind the safety car on that lap. He lost so much time just diligently following the safety cars as he's obliged to do. And that's just wrecked his race.
I was just about to say about Valtteri Bottas's bad luck this season. George Russell's just picked up a chunk and a half of Bottas' bad luck there.
Yeah, 25 laps to go. That's less than 25 minutes.
And so let's see what happened here, Martin. This is George Russell coming in behind the safety car for his first stop. And there's
not very, very long.
Yeah.
Well, Mercedes had to do something, didn't they? In a race where they've got their world champion that can't compete, and in a race where Verstappen, somebody that would be capable of beating a Mercedes potentially, Charles Leclerc that potentially would be able to beat a Mercedes. Vettel was having a mare. You can't have just somebody like George Russell jumping into the Mercedes and beating everybody, can you? You've got to do something different.
The crew having to adjust. Lots of tyres hanging around there. The call was obviously made late. It's a 2.2 mile circuit.
There's some horrible confusion going on there, isn't there?
And then I think now they've realised that there is a problem, and they might have sent Valtteri back out on the same tyres. Someone's come out from the garage saying, no, can't put those tyres on. You just got to send him out with what he had on before.
You're right, they put the same ones back on.
Because that was...
This is Mercedes, German precision engineering, isn't it? What they're famed for. Not being a bunch of retards in the garage.
The lesser of two evils, otherwise he's going out with a mixed up tyre set as well.
Yeah.
And you can see everyone scampering out there. It's hard enough, Martin, to scamper out to service one car, but when you're double stacking at the last minute as well, on such a short lap, Mercedes might think in high...
How long will we wait? Let's have a guess.
Insight, that wasn't the best thing to do.
So what they're doing here is covering off a restart behind a safety car, so that they're not on old tyres with people like a Perez behind them, right behind them, on new tyres. But I think the guy on the left front can probably see that they've got George Russell GR on them rather than VB or something.
All the while, those brakes getting very, very hot indeed. So
this is so un-Mercedes-like, isn't it?
What a race this is now turning into. Mercedes problems, and that debrief is now starting. Flip that over. At the end of the first lap, Sergio Perez was in last place.
Bearing in mind, this was just to create an opportunity so somebody could run onto the track and remove from that track a front wing. It's not removing a car, all right? It's removing a front wing. Bit of debris on the track.
We're on lap 65 behind the safety car. Guess who's leading the race? Sergio Perez, ladies and gentlemen.
So we should have good pace with the new tyre set, So all not lost.
So basically, George, you've done really, really well leading this race. You've kept calm, you've kept it under control. What we need you to do now is a bit of overtaking as well. About 4 seasons in one day. This is every bit of racecraft in one night for George Russell here. But Perez now leads. Esteban Ocon, who's never been on the podium in Formula 1.
What we're seeing here, the lapped cars are being released. Here's Raikkonen. Okay, have they told us, have they been speculating, will they let the lap runners through? Not sure it's mandatory, but that's no, they're just doing it. There's Raikkonen. Who's behind Raikkonen? Fittipaldi and Aitken. So we've got to see Fittipaldi and Aitken be released.
Is second. Lance Stroll is third.
That's a fair comment from Bono there, isn't it? As they let the lap cars go through now, of which there are six of them. Yeah.
Well done. There were 6.
It's a fair comment of, okay, heads down. Okay, you drop back to 5th place, but you're right in there still, and you've got a fresh set of medium compound tyres.
I remember Ted Kravitz at a race once at Hockenheim when Lewis Hamilton was pitted by McLaren at the wrong stage, and he had to come through from 5th to win it as well, and he did so that day. I wonder what we're going to see from George Russell tonight. Ted, to you.
Well, yeah, but I also remember Monaco when Mercedes made a pit stop that they didn't need to make. They're the only two cars in this race, let's face it, for the win, and they could have easily gone to the end on the hard tyre, couldn't they? All right, it might have been tight, and yes, the computer might say pit if there's a safety car, but they didn't really need to pit, did they, if we're honest with each other? But anyway, we'll see what happens after. But Lance Stroll trying to make a one-stop race work on a set of tyres that have done 23 laps on the medium should at least be straightforward for Bottas and Russell, but it is now Bottas leading Russell after Russell was in command throughout the whole of the first stint.
Just Martin with Perez first and Stroll third. This time last week, Otmar Safnauer left
so
the
this should be a
paddock.
big tyre advantage. I hope so.
Well, because Valtteri's on a blind date with his, isn't he?
Yeah.
What's he got on there?
So, just before they complete that lap, Aitken, the blue dot, makes it by the leader, and I'm assuming the safety car. So, therefore, this will be that mandatory lap that needs to be afforded to these release cars with which to attempt to catch the back of the pack. So, this is Aitken, the last of those lapped cars. Okay, so this is the lap that the safety car needs to complete, but it can come in at the end of this lap, unless the race director looks at the situation and decides that sporting fairness has not been afforded to all competitors and he can use his 15.3 to keep the safety car on track. Shall we guess what he might do? What will Michael Masi do in his mask?
Valtteri on his car has got the hard tyre on that he had.
You know, is that an old girlfriend he carried around earlier on today in the race? Or yeah, it did appear to be the same ones going back on, didn't it? So yeah, George is reacting there with just 20 very short laps left. It's like, look, yeah, I had this race under control. Well, I better have some grip, but racing points down the straight are not going to be that easy to pass.
No, Perez has done 19 laps on those tyres, so it's not a given that he's going to get the best out of them as well. Look what this is doing for Racing Point, though, in the Constructors' Championship. Wow. 194 points. I said this time last week, Otmar Safnauer left the paddock like someone had just overcooked his favourite burger. Tonight, I think they're perfectly cooking his favourite steak, and a nice bottle of red wine to go with it as well. He will be absolutely delighted at the way this race is turning out. Renault with Esteban Ocon, the joker in the pack of the top three. He's never finished on the podium before, running in second place.
Yeah, incredible. Now, with this tyre situation, Mercedes can't afford. Let's see how it plays out. But if Valtteri hasn't got the pace on those particular tyres,
there's a safety car coming in. And it's ending. Wow. No, it's not. Where's the energy from the commentators? Where's them hyping it up? Is Martin saying this time, oh, will they let them go? Will they not let them go? I don't think it's mandatory. Where's the energy from the commentators?
Need to get Russell straight past him because they can still win this.
Right.
But so can the Racing Point. Oh, brilliant.
Esteban Ocon hasn't been as high as second since 2017 when he was racing for Force India, who are now Racing Points and who next year are going to be Aston Martin. And his career best finish of fifth that he got in Spa this season, well, now he's in a podium position. Behind that, look how Valtteri Bottas weaving to get the temperature into his tyres. Russell staying quite calm after an accident that was caused by the car that he normally sits in and has cost him the lead of this race.
Yeah, George, they're choosing not to keep his tyres warm. They've got the DAS system, haven't they? The dual-axis steering system to warm their fronts up, but he'll need safety cars on this lap, so we're going to need some tyre temperature. We're going to need some grip from all of them.
20
This is going to be classic.
I love it. 20 or so laps, ladies and gentlemen. The man who is leaving Racing Point.
It's classic. I'm not surprised.
At the end of this season, yet to secure a race seat for 2021, leads this race.
So there you go. It is classic when, firstly, they don't begin the unlapping procedure until the track is declared safe. Okay, and then what you do, you release all of the cars that qualify, all of the lapped cars that qualify to be released, and then the safety car remains out on track for at least an additional lap to afford those released cars the opportunity to make it around the track. And the race director has his discretion, the 15.3, to decide if he wants to keep that safety car on track for an additional lap, as has been demonstrated on these 4 occasions, to ensure that those release cars fully catch the back of the pack. So we're all pretty familiar with that. You know, if you've got children, you can give them this as an example, because you can tell them that you've all been lied to. Sorry children, these supposed experts that have been put up in front of you actually are just mind conditioning you and lying to you because they're being paid to do so, and the company that's paying them to do so is making billions out of defrauding everybody. That's what they do. And then same dynamics happen with everything that takes place in the world. And legal will try to defend that. And if legal attempts to do that, I will fuck you up. Legal. And we'll try and do it civilly. But if you're corrupt, then we'll resort to brutality, you fucks.
The man whose seats that he could get is Alex Albon, who's in 10th at the moment, and there will be many comparisons made between both drivers, I'm sure, at the end of this race. But Perez delivering
close
again.
To Perez at the end for the win.
They reckon that Bottas, on that side of the Mercedes garage, can do it. What are they saying on the other side?
So, what have we got? Snake of cars in the correct race order, lined up one behind the other. Now, if 8 King couldn't fully catch the back of the pack, having been given the extra additional lap, well, that just shows his level. Okay, but what race control has done, it's exercised its discretion, the 15.3, to give them further opportunity. The race director has then looked at that. I've carried out the minimum requirement there. I've given them an additional lap. I'm now satisfied. I've given them every opportunity. We go racing. That's where his discretion will kick in. So, 4 examples. 4 examples where Michael Masi, in the role of race director, performed the mandatory regulations and utilised 15.3 absolutely correctly to keep the safety car on track to ensure sporting fairness to all competitors. We now come to Abu Dhabi 2021. Nicholas Latifi at turn 14 is about to crash. The state of play is Lewis Hamilton is leading the race by 12 seconds. There's Max Verstappen there. Lando Norris here. When Christian Horner's on the radio telling us all that he needs a miracle, needs some help from the racing gods, you know, because there's no way Red Bull can make it back to Hamilton now with 10 laps to go. Just needs a miracle at this point. But what cuts that conversation off? Oh, now what's happening now? Lando Norris is coming into the pits with tire narrative. It's a slow puncture apparently, even though he was told to push hard at the start of that lap. That's it. Push as hard as you can on a tyre that we've got concerned got a puncture. Health and safety. Anyway, Lando Norris is trying to chase down Pierre Gasly. You can look at what happens to Norris's race, because Norris is actually closer in time. He's only just over 11 seconds behind Gasly, and Verstappen's almost 12 seconds behind Hamilton. You'll see that Norris gets held behind Hamilton, and you'll see that Gasly disappears off around the track. So the deployment of the safety car has completely obliterated the outcome for, at that stage, 8th place Norris relative to 7th place Gasly. Both get elevated a position when Sergio Perez is surprised that he's got a problem with his car. Anyway, we'll carry on.
Are they slight regulation changes?
Well, that feels like a long time ago, doesn't it? But yes, Mercedes.
Did you count the laps in those 4 examples? You know, if you counted the laps that elapsed in those 4 examples and then took an average, okay, we've got 5.4 laps of this race remaining for Lewis Hamilton when Latifi crashes. Now, on average, 5.5 laps of a race are lost before racing can resume. The data would say that's going to be a safety car finish. Okay, that's what the data would say. Again, that's in the other video.
They had an awful pre-season test, didn't they? We thought they would be in terrible trouble come the first race.
Oh no! Nicholas Latifi has crashed, and I think that is at turn 14, where we saw Kimi Raikkonen crash in practice. It is at turn 14, and yes, that will be a safety car, because marshals are going to need to recover that Williams and to work on it. And this now completely changes the context of this race if they can clear the Williams in time, and we can have a couple of laps racing to the checkered flag.
A couple of laps racing.
There's bound to be a couple of...
There's bound to be a couple. That's not the energy you had in the previous 4 examples, is it, lads? Oh, and the other, there's 5.4 laps remaining. We'd have to get this all sorted within 3 laps to get a couple of laps racing, wouldn't we? So you'd have to get the car cleared. You'd have to get the track swept and safe. You'd have to get the field bunched. You'd have to get the unlapping procedure done, and the mandatory lap afforded to those cars all done within 3 laps to get bound to be a couple. Have you ever seen it done in 3 laps before, or what I've just said? I've not.
Of course, that's where Max Verstappen's much fresher tyres will fire up.
Tyre is not changed onto the softs yet, Martin.
And give him the confidence on any kind of restart. It depends how...
On any kind of restart. But any doesn't mean all kinds of restart, does it, Martin?
There will be, I'm pretty sure, on lap 52, obviously because of the slow...
Hamilton's now on lap 54.
Pace with 5 to go, that they'll probably have a lap or 2, as long as they get if they get a vehicle on there and get that out of the way.
And coming into the pits, Max Verstappen. Hamilton stays out. Verstappen coming into the pits, and I would imagine there's a set of soft tyres waiting for him to go onto that Red Bull car. Yes, it is.
I can't box. Negative.
Right, so if there is a restart, Verstappen now has fresh soft tyres. Lewis has heavily used hard compound tyres. They will let any lap runners through on the safety car restart.
They will let any lap runners through. Any lap runners through. Not the lap runners. You've used the wording of the regulation there, haven't you, Martin? You've used the word of the regulation. You've not used that before. How many lapped cars are... Because if you know that Norris here is in 8th position, how many are still running? Well, you've got 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. So they are still running. None of them retired. 8 lapped cars there. 8 lapped cars. Any. They'll let any.
Start. And he will presumably end up... Well, they had nothing to lose. Once again, Red Bull had nothing to lose there.
Red Bull had nothing to lose. What you all need to take from this, right, is you take nothing out. Red Bull had nothing to lose. Red Bull did nothing wrong. They'd got nothing to lose. How do you unravel that? Red Bull did nothing wrong. They had nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. Hamilton is a long way clear as Perez also pits, as we can see, and there's quite a few coming into the pits. Hamilton's a long way clear on the track, but I rather get the feeling by the time he comes around to the main straight, he's not going to be able to pit and stay ahead of Max Verstappen. That chance wasn't there, or has gone by for Mercedes.
Verstappen tucked up behind Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin there.
But he won't be on the restart.
Restart, restart, restart. What about safety car finish?
That's unbelievable.
Wow.
So look, we're on lap 54 of 58 here. They've got to clear that debris away, and the fire extinguishers have obviously gone off because the brakes, I'm sure, were getting very, very hot. But they've also got to let the lapped cars unlap themselves. Just at the back of my mind, I wonder if we're going to get any racing laps in.
That would mean a safety car finish, Crofty.
In this race. Wait and see. This is what happened.
Wait and see.
To Nicholas Latifi. He was...
well, you could be showing us what was going on rather than just replay and what F1 TV choose to select to show us, rather than show us what's happening live to give us an indication of what's actually going on, and therefore we can gauge for ourselves the likelihood of a restart.
Scrapping away with Mick Schumacher.
That's not the corner he crashed on, is it?
That was earlier on, I think, in the skirmish with Schumacher. They barged wheels, went off the track, would have picked up a bit of dust and debris on his...
On the tyres!
tyres, and then the rear just lets go.
Probably dirty tyres from being offline there.
Yeah, it's like it becomes like a skating rink, like it was in the other Grand Prix where it's the tyres as well.
Will we get any more racing laps or not? What jeopardy at the end of this Grand Prix, the end of this World Championship. Will there be any more racing laps? If there
Stay on the edge of your seat, children. Stay on the edge of your seat.
Then Verstappen has got the tyres to really do something with them. Will they let the lap runners through?
Well, they all...
What do you think, Martin? You know, in your vast experience, what do you think they will do, Martin? You know, how many Grand Prix have you commentated on, Martin? How many times have you seen the process happen? What do they do, Martin? Every time, Martin?
Always do let the lap runners through. And
good cop, bad cop. Well, they always do, Martin. They always do, Martin.
Between Hamilton and Verstappen, Norris, Alonso, Ocon, Leclerc and Vettel.
Yeah, but what you do, Crofty, when they always do, they always release the lapped cars. You've just listed 5 of them there, Crofty. Well, because you don't always just list the cars that are just in between first and second. You say the lapped cars. You've just listed 5.
Yes, but if they do...
Only 5 got released. Why are you talking about them 5 before it was only them 5 that were released?
That, it extends the safety car period.
It's not an extension, Martin. It's just the safety car period. The only extension would be the 15.3 discretion of affording them an additional lap if they've not fully caught the back of the pack. But it's not an extension carrying out the mandatory procedures. That just is the safety car period, the requirement for it to take that amount of time, because you've got to take the amount of time that it takes to clear the incident up, and that just takes as long as it takes. And then secondly, once the track is safe, you've got to carry out the mandatory procedure, and that then becomes the safety car period. Now, you can prolong that by affording those released cars further opportunity to fully catch the back of the pack if they've not done so. But you describing that as extending the safety car period is inaccurate. But you're leading people to believe things to be a certain way, aren't you? You're leading people's minds, Martin. Mind conditioning, Martin, aren't you?
But that's what they always do. Take the lap runners out of the way so they're not interfering in play.
That's why they took Pedro Gasly out of the way in Brazil, so he wasn't interfering with finishing second in that race. Yeah.
So, situation is, Verstappen has pitted. He had a free pit stop. We would have lost track position to him. 4 laps remaining when you cross the line. So this field has to bunch, and then they have to send lap cars through. So it may not restart.
Oh, that's a lovely message. This field has to bunch, then they have to send lapped cars through. So it may not restart. It's very... who is this, Bono? You see, this is very scripted, isn't it? They have to send lapped cars through. Yeah, they did send some lapped cars through. That doesn't define the unlapping procedure, does it? They have to send lapped cars through. Mercedes, you're just reading off a script, aren't you? You're saying ambiguous words that we all know that you're relating to the mandatory procedure that we know needs to happen, but to the person that doesn't know, well, they have to send lapped cars through. Well, they did send some lapped cars through. That doesn't define what they then need to do. Afford them the opportunity of making it around the track and catching the back to restore sporting fairness.
Right behind me. He will be. Once they've sorted out all the order. This is going to take a while to sort out.
There might be one.
With new tyres. Copy, Lewis. We would have lost track position if we had pitted.
And that was the big key here. Mercedes, for the second time, keeping Lewis Hamilton out, whilst Max Verstappen pitted. Red Bull had nothing.
That was the big key here. Tyres and Red Bull having nothing to lose. That was the big key here. Now, the big key here is we've got a safety car on the track dealing with a safety incident deployed by race control because a car's crashed. So you've got to clear up the track, move the car off the track, clear any debris. Oh, it's set on fire. That's fucked it all up, hasn't it? That's going to make it take too long, and now we can't get the race going. Shit, what are we going to do now? Our plan has been fucked because of a fire. There's no smoke without fire. So, how are we going to manipulate this now? It already was a manipulation when you got Nicholas Latifi to get his tyres like they were skating and then drop it into third gear and boot the throttle going round turn 40. Yeah, because it had to be this lap, Nicholas. But that's what he was told at the start of that lap. Anyway, yeah, you could... you get to a point where the car's caught fire, it's going to take longer, and it's only when the clerk of the course declares the track safe that that then you can begin the unlapping procedure. So that's the big key here, isn't it? The big key here is this going to be a safety car finish because we can't get going in time.
And that was the big key here. Mercedes, for the second time, keeping Lewis Hamilton out, whilst Max Verstappen pitted. Red Bull had nothing to lose. Hamilton potentially losing track position. And in this case, if we don't go racing again because you can't overtake under the safety car, he would have lost the World Championship.
What are you talking about? In this case, if we don't go racing again because you can't overtake under the safety car, he'd have lost the World Championship. What are you talking about, Crofty? Quite simply, if we can't go racing again, because this is going to be a safety car finish, Lewis Hamilton will become a world champion. That's all it is. He's in the lead. We'll lap him behind the safety car. If we can't go racing again, he's a winner. Why have you had to word your sentence to project that he'd have lost the World Championship if he'd have done something that he didn't do and we don't go racing? Why would you put it across like that, Crofty?
Is there a vehicle pulling the Williams out of the way or not yet?
Can't see it at the moment.
They're blindfolded, they can't see.
Head down to you.
Yeah, have a load of other people pitting. Yuki Tsunoda, Pierre Gasly, Daniel Ricciardo. We've had Lance Stroll as well into the pits. I'll give you those orders as they shake out. But yeah, it was just bad luck. I mean, you saw the Mercedes mechanics just hanging around outside the pits looking at whether they had the order to come in. But Hamilton was so close to the pit entrance that it does seem that the engineer's right there. Whatever they would have done, they would have lost track position.
The safety car's not going full gas down the straight.
Copy, Lewis, understood.
His tyres are cooling. He needs more pace, more heat into those tyres.
This is awful for Lewis then with those hard compound, heavily used tyres. So.
Tyres.
There's the shunt then that caused the safety. It has to be a safety car there. And but will they let the lap runners through?
Will they let the lap runners through?
I don't think it's absolutely mandatory.
He doesn't think it's mandatory.
But that's normally on a wet day.
But that's normally on a wet day.
They don't. And if so, how long will they wait?
How long will they wait, Martin? You know, this is the oracle. He's predicting that race control is going to break the rules before Michael Masi panics under pressure and breaks the rules. Makes the human error under pressure. But Martin's predicting that he could do that before he does that.
For those lap cars to get out of the way. If they wait for them to catch the pack up, which they don't have to do, nope. Then...
Nope, confirms Crofty. What was Crofty saying in the other ones? Nope.
I don't think we'll get a racing lap if they let...
I don't think we'll get a racing lap. If we don't get a racing lap, what does that mean, Martin? It means Lewis Hamilton's a record-breaking 8-time world champion. How many times have you mentioned that, lads? How many times have you mentioned that we're in the process of witnessing history? We're potentially in the process of witnessing history of Michael Schumacher, which Lewis Hamilton is level with on 7 World Championship. Lewis Hamilton is on course to surpass that and become outright on his own with 8. You're not talking the global population through this landmark accomplishment that Hamilton is on course for.
Them through, we could get 1 racing lap.
3 laps to go. Nicholas Latifi is seemingly okay after that contact with the barriers, around about 90 miles an hour.
But Red Bull had nothing to lose.
But he would have taken a whack, and it's good to see that he's okay. Sergio Perez coming into the pits again.
So Max,
I think they're retiring the car here. Perez into the pits for the 4th time. I didn't understand why, but I think they are retiring.
They had nothing to lose. Well, you've just lost any chance of winning the Constructors' Championship, haven't you? You went into the race with a 28-point deficit, and before you've just taken Perez out of the race by retiring him, you were in 2nd and 3rd. And had Hamilton have retired, suffered a mechanical failure or puncture, for example, in that last couple of laps, behind the safety car, you'd have got a 1-2. And that would have been enough for winning the Constructors' Championship. Now, Mercedes took the prize of $177 million. That's quite a lot to lose that you're just thrown away in a safety car situation. Red Bull had nothing to lose.
In the car, and yes, they're not going to be working on it, and that is the end of Sergio Perez's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
Checo, we need to retire the car. We need to retire the car. Box.
And for the
really? Yeah, box.
And lapped cars will not be allowed to overtake.
It's not mandatory.
It's not mandatory. Now, at this point in time, we'll come back to this. It's not mandatory. At this point in time, let's just go to this one here.
Sorry, cancel that. Lap cars will not be allowed to overtake.
Yeah, of course. Typical decision.
It's not a typical decision, Max. Well, the typical element of it is that, well, we're not doing the unlapping procedure yet because the track's not been declared safe. Right? It's not a typical decision because you wouldn't get the notification that lapped cars will not be allowed to overtake, because you don't get that notification. You just get radio silence until the point in time where it's okay, now the track is safe, now we're going to do the unlapping procedure. You don't get all the shenanigans.
It's classic.
I'm not surprised.
That took about 20 seconds. All right, we'll go back to track review.
Up for grabs. The lapped car race.
Verstappen with a lot of work to do then.
So Mercedes will be Constructors' Champions at the end of this race as it stands at the moment, assuming that Hamilton and Bottas finish this race. The Drivers' Championship, though, is very much up for grabs. The lapped cars won't be allowed to overtake, which means that there are plenty of cars in between Hamilton and Verstappen for Verstappen to fight his way through. Norris, Alonso, and also Ocon and Leclerc.
That's a lie, because you can't restart racing like that. Here's Lando Norris. There's a car that's in front of him, Pierre Gasly. So from being just over 11 seconds behind Gasly, Norris is now the best part of a lap behind him. Prior to the resumption of racing, you have to restore sporting fairness to all the competitors, as is dictated in the FIA International Sporting Code, right near the start of it, lads. You know, you'd have thought the FIA International Council, what are they called? They're a bullshit organisation anyway. The council that signed off on the Abu Dhabi report. You'd have thought they'd understand that these regulations should never be applied in such a manner as to impact sporting fairness to all competitors. You'd have thought, but then they're all just corrupt, aren't they? They're all the lawyer type.
And Sebastian Vettel.
None of which are for position, of course.
None of the 5 of the 8 that he lists are for position. That they are for position, you know, because 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, that they are all for position, but actually all of them actually get elevated of position when they go round because Perez is now out of that order. Of course they're for position, Martin. Each one of those competitors in that race is racing for positions.
Fight his way through Norris, Alonso, and also Ocon and Leclerc and Sebastian Vettel.
None of which are for position, of course. No. They're obliged to get out of the way, but Lewis will be long down the road.
That I suppose is the compromise that race control have made here.
Yes, the commentators are predicting, well, surmising that they believe that the race controllers made a compromise here of the rules. Have you ever heard a sports commentator commentating on a sport see the referee do something that's illegal against the rules of the sport, and the commentator goes, "Oh, I suppose this is the compromise that the referee is making here"? Well, do the commentators go, "What's the referee doing here? He's not allowed to do that. That's not how this sport works"? But no, I suppose this is a compromise he's making from the mind conditioners.
By giving the best possible chance for racing to the finish rather than finishing behind the safety car.
Is this giving Lando Norris the best chance of racing against Pierre Gasly to the finish? No, it's not, is it? Do all competitors in that race matter? Yes, they do, don't they? By giving Max Verstappen the chance to race Lewis Hamilton to the finish. That's all this is being set up for, isn't it, Crofty? Oh, so you're just doing it for one, to excite the kiddies. That's not how this sport works.
They've decided the lap cars will stay where they are.
Remember that conversation that I showed you took place down here and took about 20 seconds? It takes about 12 here. This is the edited version, just the gaps edited out. Played to the world, chosen by Formula One TV to make us feel a certain way. This is called narrative creation.
Cancel that. Lap cars will not be allowed to overtake.
Yeah, of course. Typical decision.
It's classic.
I'm not surprised.
Well, I'll try and look at this objectively. We should get...
We'll look at this objectively. Red Bull had nothing to lose, but Red Bull are now feeling hard done by. So what do Red Bull want objectively?
One lap of racing here. If we allow...
No. Objectively, we should have one lap of racing. No, that's not how it works, Crofty. You see, we're on lap 56 now. Okay, and let's have a look.
So
we're praying to the racing god still.
So what do Red Bull want?
We've got marshals on the track here. There they are. Look. There they are. So we can't release the laps cars yet. Okay, this is why it's classic. I'm not surprised. We're not going to be releasing lap cars while they're still clearing the track up. You know, we've got that powder due to the fire that fucked everything up. Yeah, we got that. So we're now going to be on lap 57. And even if you release them on lap 57, which is what you have to do, then lap 58's a safety car lap. It's now guaranteed to be a safety car finish. So why have you just said, I'll look at this objectively, we should have one lap of racing? That's a lie, Crofty. You're lying to the world on lap 56 of this race, conditioning the minds of the children. Sky Sports F1 defrauding the global population by lying to everybody with narrative ahead of race control, breaking the rules of the sport. This is systematic corruption. This is a contrivance. This is parties conspiring to fix an outcome in an event, to fix an ending to an event which is not in accordance with the rules and regulations of that sport. This is the governing body of the sport breaking the rules of the sport. This is the media that are broadcasting the sport live, two versions of it, Sky Sports commentating on it to mind condition you to believe it, F1 TV creating the narrative of what you see and what you hear in terms of the images they show you and the interjections of the radio messages to condition your mind to believe what is about to come.
No laps of racing to the checkered flag. So what do Red Bull want? Max Verstappen and Giampiero Lambiase as race engineer, do they want the chance or do they want to finish behind the safety car with no overtaking? Because I think that is the decision that has come from race control. And personally, this is the decision that gives them the best chance if they want it.
Yeah, I mean, the regulation, as I said, they may.
Personally, this is the decision that gives Red Bull the best chance if Red Bull want it. Does it give McLaren the best chance? Does it give Ferrari the best chance? Does it give the other teams in this race the best chance? These regulations will never be applied in a manner to impact sport in fairness to all competitors. Martin, tell us, Martin, whether you think they're mandatory or not, again, for the third time.
And personally, this is the decision that gives them the best chance if they want it.
Yeah, I mean, the regulation, as I said, they may allow the lap cars through. It's not mandatory.
When people lie, they speak like that, Martin.
To point it out, but as you point out, Crofty, there'd be no
good cop, bad cop
racing laps if they let the lap cars through, because I think the safety car will come in at the end of this lap and there will be one race.
Martin thinks it's going to come in at the end of this lap. Strange how surprised he is when it does come in at the end of this lap, if he's already predicted that he thinks it's going to come in at the end of this lap.
Lap.
They'll all get blue flags, I would imagine.
Christian and Michael.
Yes, go ahead, Christian.
Yeah.
So, again, who creates the narrative? F1 TV, the creators, they play the sounds of these radio interjections that they want you to hear, that they want you to believe. Now, we are on lap 57. If you release the lap cars on this lap, which you probably can do because the track is now safe and the clerk of the course has probably now declared it safe. But in fact, he hasn't. He actually hasn't, and I'll come to that in a little bit. But let's just say he had. You release the lap cars now. Safety car will return to the pits at the end of the following lap. You release them on lap 57. Lap 58 is a lap behind the safety car to give them the opportunity of making it around the track. That's the way the regulation is. This is a safety car finish. That's guaranteed to be a safety car finish. We're on lap 57. The lapped cars haven't been released yet. You release them this lap. Lap 58 is a safety car lap. That's guaranteed. The makers of the show play you this message.
Why aren't we getting these lap cars out of the way?
Just give me, because Christian, just give me a second. Okay, my big one is to get this.
They play the narrative of the race director being under pressure, don't they? Oh, Christian's putting the race director under pressure. What's the race director now going to do, everybody?
Incident clear.
You only need one racing lap.
Oh, Christian says we only need one racing lap. We've got nothing to lose. We're Red Bull.
Well, I assume Christian's talking about then, getting the lap cars out of the way, not clearing the incident away.
Yeah, I mean, all of the cars in front.
Christian's not talking about clearing the incident away. No, we've put a safety car out on track to deal with a safety concern, and we're not concerned about that, are we? No, you have to be concerned about that. That's the whole purpose of deploying the safety car.
Now, Max will get blue flags and are duty bound to get out of the way, but
embellishing the lie, embellishing the false situation that's not even permissible.
They're all in a reasonable fight themselves, aren't they?
Now they're all in a reasonable fight themselves, but earlier none of them were for position, of course.
Well, so here we go. Normally,
So here we go. Where do we go, Crofty? So here we go.
You'd see the race leader backing up the pack a little bit when the safety car.
What do you know? Here we go.
Goes. I would imagine on this occasion, if we do get a lap, Martin, Hamilton will want to be disappearing off into the distance as fast as he can.
Yeah, I don't see any way Verstappen can do anything with that, but
Verstappen can't do anything with that. What about an 8-time world champion? Well, are we talking about what Verstappen can do with what? A nothing, a nobody, a 0-time world champion, right? As opposed to the GOAT, the all-time great of the sport. Why are we talking about what Verstappen can do with it? Why aren't we talking about what is the history that's just about to happen in front of our eyes?
Indeed, is the safety car coming in this lap? We think it should do, could do.
It's exciting the children, isn't it?
Is there any more debris to clear up?
Is there any more you think the safety car could do, should do? You've told us already you think it will come in at the end of this lap and there will be one racing lap. Now you're asking, is there any more debris to clear up?
But we're halfway round already.
Race control are now saying lapped cars to overtake the safety car. So Norris and Alonso and Ocon and Leclerc and Vettel to
and
overtake
it's ending.
it.
And it's ending. Wow.
Wow. Wow. Well, you're always able to identify the number of lapped cars that need releasing in the 4 examples I've given you so far. You didn't mention the other 3 at any stage during this stage. It's ending. Wow. The makers of the show F1 TV had immediately queued up. You know, because all these messages occur at different times, don't they? I immediately had it queued up. And it's ending, and it's ending. Wow!
Michael.
Michael. Scripted Mercedes.
So, there's confusion, but
it's very confusing. Don't you worry your little heads. It's a highly complex technical sport, and you need the experts to tell you all about it. Or I can tell you what the truth is.
Safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. So those back markers allowed to overtake the safety car, and that has now left Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen.
The FIA report declares that the track is only being declared safe around about now. In fact, I think it's actually well, I'll read it through. We'll go through that report again. It could be even when Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen are actually beginning lap 58 is when the track is being declared clear. And in fact, I'm pretty certain that's what it was. Meaning that these cars here, these 5 cars, should have been 8, but these 5 cars here should be in a process now of making it around that track at an appropriate speed, making every effort to try to catch the back of the pack without overtaking each other. They are told that they are racing. They are told now that they are racing and have the opportunity to overtake each other, racing. The track isn't declared safe, so they're racing now and the track isn't safe.
It isn't right.
It has left Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen side by side. Hamilton will be ahead. Verstappen is absolutely desperate to get on with this on that soft compound tyre. We're going to.
You see that? You saw the blue, and you see him. That's because Max overtook Lewis there, but they didn't penalise him for that.
Have 1 lap of racing to decide the championship in 2020.
We'll get 1 lap of racing to decide the championship in 2021, and $4.8 billion the sport grew in value by that year, by exciting the children, by defrauding everybody, by enabling a driver to get away with every infringement without penalty, to manufacture a new champion, a tight title battle, manipulate results, manipulate sport. They all made money out of it, and they defrauded everybody that they attract and seek to sell the show to. That's mis-selling, because you're not selling a sport. You're selling a contrivance. You're selling wrestling, aren't you? A predetermined outcome.
21. Hamilton has the advantage. Verstappen has the faster, fresher tyres. And And we have got 3.2 miles.
They're saying now that as these two cars go on to the final lap, lap 58, which shouldn't be a racing lap, that now they're getting notified from the sectors that the track is now clear. Well, these cars are racing. That's illegal. Lando Norris here has got no chance of competing with 6th place Gasly. Daniel Ricciardo has got no chance of overtaking Sebastian Vettel or Charles Leclerc, despite the fact that Daniel Ricciardo is on fresh soft compound tyres and could potentially have, well, he couldn't because it's a safety car finish, so all the eventualities about who could have overtaken who, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter what tyres are on because you can't restart the race. Again, another hypothetical bullshit situation. Carlos Sainz can't overtake 2nd place Max Verstappen because he's got two cars in between him. He's got Daniel Ricciardo and Lance Stroll in between himself and Max Verstappen. He's held back. He's about 1.5 seconds or 2 seconds back from Verstappen when they cross that start-finish line. The only person that this is set up for is Max Verstappen.
Of racing action all the way to the checkered flag as the crowd.
And it's ending well. Now, in the 4 previous examples, did it end like that? No, it didn't, did it? What was the energy of the commentary teams? How long did each incident take? How long does it take to deal with a safety concern and go through the unlapping procedure? How do the commentators talk about it? What's true and what is lies? What is narrative and what's contrivance? Lawyers, I suggest you do your homework. Been doing mine for some time. You see, when it comes to truth and facts, you won't beat me. If it comes to criminal contrivance and you've got a criminally corrupt judge, then that might rule in your favour. But then what we'll do, we'll make sure that this case is televised so that we'll actually show the world that the British judiciary is corrupt as well. And we'll show that barristers are criminally corrupt. And we'll get an uprising of the people. And we'll fuck you up, you criminal cunts. Thank you for your time.